Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back from the video, and today I'm talking about the winners and the losers of the NBA draft. As of recording, this is the day after the draft. This will most likely be coming out about 2 days after the draft, and I'm beginning to my personal winners of the draft and my personal losers of the draft. So now, if I do put your team as a loser or not, I don't put them as a winner or something, and I rub your fan base the wrong way somehow, please don't go out and just dislike this video for absolutely no reason, because I do understand it can be frustrating when you personally don't think your team did that bad, but then they've been put into losers. But this is just my opinion, and I mean, let's be honest, no one as of right now can guarantee anything. Any of these players can become the next star. Nobody knows anything as of right now. So these are all just opinions and kind of guesses going into the future off of what I know and what I've seen out of these players, and basically who I think won and got better, most better through the NBA draft. So yeah, if you did like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. It just means so much when you like the video. It helps out the video a ton, and I cannot thank y'all for all the support y'all been showing. So if you do like the video at any point, like I said, hit the like button and subscribe button. It means the world to me. But without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Okay, so my first winner for this video is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the reason I have the San Antonio Spurs here is because they went out and selected devan vasell. Now, devan vasell can play the 2 or the 3 position, and I mean, he is one of my, if not my favorite prospect in this draft. Now, obviously, he's behind people like James Wiseman, LaMelo, and Anthony Edwards, just because those were the top 3 in this draft. You could not debate that at all. But devan vasell is definitely up there with all the other elite players in this draft. Like, him and Toppin are really my 2 favorite players, and I think the Spurs got an absolute steal being able to get him at, I think, the 11th overall pick. So, I mean, devan vasell is going to help the Spurs team out a ton. He's perfect for the Spurs, as well as their defense is their main problem, and devan vasell is either the second best or the best perimeter defender in this entire draft class. He has great length, great athleticism. Like I said, he's a great defender. He can shoot the ball. He's good on offense. Like, I think devan vasell does have a chance to be a star level player in the NBA, in this NBA, and I think devan vasell is going to be one of the steals of this draft. But now for my second winner of this video, I have the Detroit Pistons. Now, not many people that I've seen at least have the Detroit Pistons as a winner of the draft, despite, in my opinion, probably being the best and having the best draft out of anyone in this draft class. As, I mean, they were able to go out, get their franchise point guard in Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes is going to be a great player for them. I mean, he is definitely a point guard of the future. He's going to be an absolute beast for them going into the future, and he was my favorite point guard outside of LaMelo Ball in this entire draft class. So I absolutely love the Killian Hayes pick and think he will be a very good player, if not all-star level player for them for years to come. But not only did they just add their future point guard for years and years to come, they also added a very good center, in my opinion, in that Isaiah Stewart. Now, although Isaiah Stewart is not probably going to ever be an all-star, but he will be a very good starting level center, probably like a Steven Adams type guy. Very strong, athletic, can protect the paint and grab boards, which is one of their biggest needs. Detroit last year had one of the most points allowed in the paint per game out of any team. They allowed the 3rd most points in the paint per game out of any team. And with Isaiah Stewart, who has shown tons of shot blocking potential, averaging 2 blocks per game in college, he should help a ton with that paint defense. And you compare him with Blake Griffin, and the shot blocking in the paint should be on lockdown going into next season. And then another person they added was Saddiq Bey with the 19th overall pick. Saddiq Bey, although yes, he has huge issues on the defensive end, he is probably the best 3-point shooter or second best 3-point shooter in this entire draft class, and you can never add any more 3-point shooting. So you add one of the best 3-point shooters, a very solid, maybe starting level center, and the second best point guard, in my opinion, in this draft class. So I think for sure, with all that being combined and looking at all the picks and all the players they were able to add through this draft class, I think Detroit got much better. Now, maybe these results won't be seen right away, but I'm sure they're going to be better next year. In the about 2 or 3 years down the line, when these players develop, Detroit will be a playoff team due to how much I think these players will end up developing. And now my third winner is going to be the New York Knicks. Now, the reason I picked New York Knicks is simply because they added Toppin. Now, Toppin, outside of LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, and James Wiseman, Toppin is my favorite player in this draft, and I think he has a chance to be the best player in this draft. Now, am I saying he will? No, because he still needs to improve his defense, but at this point, it is all on Obi Toppin and the New York Knicks developing his defensive game, because he's already probably the second most athletic guy in this draft class. He has every tool necessary: athleticism, length, speed. He has everything necessary to become an elite defender. He has a very good handle for the ball for his size. He's one of the best offensive players in this draft all around. He can shoot the mid-range, he can shoot the three, he can dunk, he can go to the lane, he can finish with contact, he can rebound the ball. He is just a perfect player. So if the Knicks are able to develop his defensive game, there is a legit chance he could be a superstar in this NBA, and I love Obi Toppin as a prospect, and I think he could very much be a superstar if the New York Knicks do develop him correctly. And now the last winner of this draft class is going to be the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Golden State Warriors, they only really added one player, but they were able to add a number 2 overall pick in James Wiseman. But I mean, y'all might be like, no, I mean, yeah, that's good and all, and yes, they got the number 2 overall pick, so that's why they improved so much, but why are they a winner just because of that? Well, I think they're a winner because, one, this fills, before the Klay Thompson injury, this now fills one of their holes in their roster, and James Wiseman is now going to be a cornerstone piece for years and years and years to come, while the other players like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, who just got an Achilles injury, is out for this entire season, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins, they're all aging. Now, yes, Wiggins is younger, but the main core, they're all aging and have shown a few injury problems as of late. And I mean, Klay Thompson is extremely concerning with an Achilles tear. That is extremely, extremely concerning, especially since he's not going to be able to play for a second year straight. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see how Wiseman is able to help this team go in the future and help the Golden State Warriors keep up this dominance. Because I think even with Klay Thompson out, the Golden State Warriors are still a very good playoff team. As I mean, look, even with Klay Thompson out, you still have Steph Curry, a 2-time MVP. People forget how good and how much of a dog that dude actually is. Andrew Wiggins showed tons of promise at the end of last season and is a legit scoring option, and if he can get anything on defense, he could be a very valuable piece to this roster. They have Eric Pascal, who was very good for them last year, Draymond Green, who's still a very good defender, and now James Wiseman, who is the best center by far in this draft class and is looking probably going to be a huge contributor to this team and a huge piece to this Warriors team in the year 1 when this year does start. But now that I got all the winners out of the way, it is time to get into the losers. And now I only have 2 losers, but in my opinion, they're 2 pretty big losers when it comes to this draft. The first loser I have is the New Orleans Pelicans, as despite having 4 picks, they really added 1 player because they traded the rest of them, and that 1 player that they did add was Kira Lewis. They added this point guard, which doesn't make sense because they added that point guard to a already stacked point guard room that consists of Lonzo Ball, George Hill, Eric Bledsoe, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So with all this being said, they have so many good and solid point guards, there is no point. Because now, even if they do trade Bledsoe and George Hill, what is looking more and more likely that is what they're trying to do, you still have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who you drafted last year and has shown promise, and now you have Kira Lewis. So now you have to pick which ones you want to develop, which one do you want to commit more to, and you're going to stunt one of their development no matter which way you go. So this point guard situation is very, very stacked and a very, very hard one to deal with, and I think honestly they didn't need to do it. And something else that makes it even worse is that the Pelicans only have 1 wing player right now on the roster, and they had players like Aaron Naismith and Saddiq Bey were both on the roster. Now Aaron Naismith is a very good 3-and-D prospect, very good at shooting the 3, potentially the best 3-point shooter in the draft, and a very good defender as well. So he could have been a very good 3-and-D player and a very nice backup for Brandon Ingram. And even if they went Saddiq Bey, you're getting an elite shooter that, although not very good on defense, he's still another wing to put depth in that position, and you can now have him as a shooter, and more shooting for Zion Williamson is always a good thing. And then also Isaiah Stewart was still on the board as well, and I mean, center is one of their biggest needs. As offensive rebounding, they're one of the worst teams in the entire NBA at offensive rebounding, and I mean, he would have been very, very good for them because that's basically exactly what he would have done. So with what was left on the board and the just non-need of a point guard at that time, I think that pick was pretty much a waste and completely unnecessary unless Kier becomes like an all-star or something, which I don't think he will, because he's not going to start over Alonzo Ball. He's not going to start over JJ Redick or any of the other shooting guards. So I think he's going to struggle to really find his way in this offense and with this team, and I think it was going to be pretty much a waste of a pick. At most, he's just going to be a nice backup point guard, which is not something you want when you still have solid players that could have contributed way more in this NBA draft for the New Orleans Pelicans. And now for the final loser of this video, and probably the obvious one, I have the Chicago Bulls. The reason I have the Chicago Bulls is because they went and selected Patrick Williams with the number 4 overall pick. Now, it's not so much that they picked Patrick Williams, even though I'm not the highest on him at all. I think he's more of like that Boston Celtics guy. He's just athletic, good. I mean, there's a lot of athletic, strong guys, and that's pretty much what he is. I don't think he's going to be a star or anything. But I mean, he's going to be a decent player, but he's not going to be anything worth the number 4 overall pick. So I'm not really mad that they picked him. I'm more mad that they decided not to trade down. And I know that there were reports saying they tried and they couldn't, but I mean, I find it hard to believe that no team wanted to trade up to the 4th overall pick, not even for anything. Because I mean, you could have gotten Patrick Williams with the 14th, 15th, maybe even a not a lottery pick. So I mean, Patrick Williams, that's just an extreme stretch to pick right there, especially when you have much bigger needs and people that can fill those needs. As I mean, a lot of people wanted them to pick Denny Avdija. Now, I don't blame him for not picking them, because I'm extremely low on Denny Avdija. I think that dude's going to be a bust. But you still had players on the board like Isaac Okoro, Killian Hayes, Devin Vassell. I mean, still just tons and tons of players that would have helped fill huge holes on your roster. I don't think Patrick Williams fills a hole. As I mean, yes, they say he's a small forward, but the dude's a power forward, and they already have a power forward in Larry Marketing. Neither one of them can run small forward, at least not at an elite level or at a good enough level to have him as a starter. So I just think Patrick Williams is another waste of a pick, especially when you had other players on the board that could have filled in holes that were much, much more important to your team. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think these are the winners or losers? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you did like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. I mean the absolute road to me. All glory to God. Hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.